Hey, Nancy, welcome to Miracles Happen.
Hey, thank you so much, Dr. Maria. I'm so excited to be here today with you.
Oh, heck yeah, man. We've been waiting to get together.
We had to wait until the time was right. That's all.
We did. And this is the right time.
That's right.
It's the exact right time. So here we go. We are talking today about, you do like a billion things, right? But we're focusing it down to one little area of Reiki. I actually had a listener/client ask for a Reiki podcast episode. And I'm like, hello, perfect. Nancy Weiss. Perfect. So
perfect timing. Yeah.
Yes, this is wise. See? So first, if you can, just tell us about you, who you are and what you do and how you came to do what you do.
Sure. Well, my name is Nancy Weiss. I'm an intuitive coach and Reiki master. I guess I would say I started my spiritual journey as a very young child, about 8 years old, when I started to talk to spirits, when I started to play with crystals, when I started to sense that energy. I was always very lucky. I was always finding money. That was always my thing as a kid. I would find money, like, yes.
Green aventurine, money,
that's beautiful.
prosperity.
Yes. And I just was like, I don't know, it just kind of was always like that. And so things progressed as I got into my spirituality. Even as a young child, I would try to soak up whatever I could, even that young, I would try to find books in the library. I would look up witchcraft and tarot and whatever I could get my hands on.
Wow.
And leading up into my teens is when I started to connect with spirit babies, but I didn't know that was the term at that time.
Oh my God.
I just knew that I was connecting with babies that had passed away, that were miscarried, or that were going to be coming into the world. And I would know somebody I never met before. I'd be like, is your sister, I was so young too. I'm like, is your sister pregnant? And they're like, no. I'm like, what are you, first of all, what are you talking about? Or even, oh my goodness. And it turned out to be true. It was true.
Wow.
Or, I knew a woman, I was like, oh, did you have a miscarriage of a little girl? And I'm like, because she's here right now. And I'm freaking everybody out again, because I'm young and have no filter. I'm like, Nancy, you don't say that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was kind of my teen years. And then kind of going up into my 30s, I had another spiritual awakening in my mid 30s. It's when I decided to pursue Reiki and energy healing. I just, I'm constantly learning, constantly seeing what can I take on? What can I learn? How can I further what I want to do? And I started doing manifestation and mindset work and seeing myself manifest all these incredible things like my husband and, relationships and jobs and money and things like that. And then we started our own fertility journey with my husband.
Uh-huh.
And at the same time, I was finishing up health coaching school, and said, you know what? I was working with doing health coaching. And then I said, I need to be a fertility coach. That's what I need to do, because we're in the middle of it. And so I started doing that. And then I realized that I wasn't sharing everything that I was doing personally, like energy work and oracle cards and just connecting with my intuition.
Yeah.
And that's when I came out of the closet with my fertility women and was like, look, here's what I'm doing. And this is what I want to show you. And it kind of just went from there. So it's grown and grown from there. Now I'm helping women that are in infertility, and I'm helping all women at this point, just connecting with their spirituality. So that's what I'm doing right now.
That's fantastic. Did you say you were 8? Were you 8 years old?
Yes.
When you first remember?
Yes.
Wow.
8 years old is when everything started spirit-wise, where I was like,
yeah,
oh, there's somebody in the room, or, I felt someone standing next to me that they weren't there. And it just was so intense. Or I would have dreams about, I had intense dreams about little girls that had gone missing and so many things. unfortunately, that's when my anxiety started as well, because I
Yeah,
didn't know,
well, it would.
there was no
Mhm.
one to help me manage that. I would share it with my mom, and she was understanding. She never was like, "Oh, that's crazy." She was always like, "Okay, I believe
Mhm.
you." But
Mhm. Mhm.
that was kind of it. I was just kind of like on my own at that point. And it's taken me years and years, decades, to learn how to control those things, to control, the intuition, being an empath,
Yes.
being an energy healer, being able to do it for others. And so it's been a journey for me too, as I've gone through this transformation
Yeah.
over my life, and things are always changing too.
Sure. Yes. I find the same. I'm not one of those like you that recognize these things when I was young. It wasn't until I started meditating in my 30s that I'm like, oh, this is a thing. This is happening. But I was always curious. So I'm fascinated. And also I'm thinking, little kids from infancy to about 7, their brainwave activity is such that they receive information easily, like just innocently. I'm surprised that wasn't you. So I'm wondering what happened at 8 years old, but that's maybe a
Yeah.
story for another time.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
just like, it
cool.
was just like, again, it was just something like, I remember going to school. I would do I have a book called ESP, like it's from the
Oh,
80s. And
oh
that's where
yeah.
I started learning about extrasensory perception and doing things like that. And I would stand in front of my classroom and do like these things where I'm like, okay, hold this pack of cards. Okay, hold up the card, and I'm going to tell you what the card is,
That's
or
so
guess
cool.
the number. And people were like freaking out. Or I remember like I started like connecting with the moon. That was the other thing too. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
the moon talks to me. I connect with her. And kids were like, Nancy's crazy. you know um but I just was like, well, I know this, I know it's true, so I'm just gonna go with it.
Nice. That is one of the beautiful things about being a kiddo, that you're like, I know this is true. I just know it. As an adult, it can feel a little bit like, no, no, this isn't happening.
Right.
But but I'm so glad you had that experience.
Thank you.
Well, shoot, that's why I was talking about, you do like a million things, but so I wanted to focus it down to just energy medicine, specifically
Yeah.
Reiki. And then maybe we can talk again about other
Yeah,
stuff.
sure.
We're
Sure.
going to touch on spirit baby stuff today a little
Okay.
bit too,
Yeah.
because people love spirit baby stuff.
Yes.
So, how did you how did you decide Reiki, and what is Reiki anyway?
So
Let's start
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah. So Reiki is a type of energy healing. It is centuries old. People say ancient, there's centuries. You can, track it back to the 1920s. It has really evolved over time. It originated in Japan, where it was taught very exclusively to only very specific students. And then it was gradually brought out where people, especially because there was all stuff wartime with Japan way back then, it wasn't really welcomed here in America. But then it started to come through, and people started to become students and learn from their Reiki masters. And basically, Reiki is the transfer of universal life force energy from the practitioner to the client. So, with universal life force energy, you may have heard the term chi or
Yes.
ki, prana.
Prana.
Yeah, there's all those different ways to, white light. But that universal energy, this is the energy that connects all things. This is the energy that connects all living things, the collective consciousness, the universe, the divine. It is an energy of love, in this beautiful, benevolent universe. It's so pure, just this pure, beautiful white light healing, with such a high frequency. And for me, it's like it's the glue that's holding everything together,
Mm-hmm.
whether we can always feel it or not. So it's all that glue, that energetic glue that's like holding us together. And so the thing about Reiki is that it has no dogma, which means like it has no religion. So it's not like, if you're Catholic, you can't do it, or, you can be Buddhist, you can be atheist. It doesn't matter. There is no religion. This is about vibration. This is about energy and light, which is something that is all around us. So it can't separate us, there's nothing to separate us about that. It works whether somebody believes in it or not.
That's what I love.
Yes. Though everyone that comes to me, of course, believes in it. They know that it's extremely powerful. But I've done it on like my husband, who is a very analytical person, and that is not his thing. But I've done stuff on his running injuries, and what do you know? The pain is gone. So one of my favorite people, and actually a teacher of mine when I was in health coaching school, was Dr. Oz, Dr. Mehmet Oz.
Yeah.
And him and his wife and his daughter are all Reiki practitioners. And Dr. Oz uses it. He uses it before surgery in his operating room.
Oh, check it out.
Yeah. There are a bunch of nuns in New Jersey, I believe, that do Reiki. So that they're Catholic nuns, and they do Reiki, and they go out to the hospitals and do it for free.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
It really is. So it's become definitely more popular, I would say, more known as maybe it was years ago. And especially over the last last year and a half and things, as people seek more spiritual methods and things in their life to bring back the ease and the confidence in themselves, and just the anxiety and things like that. So
thank you, COVID. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it has been a gift for many, I've seen it being a gift for many. So yeah, Reiki is just like, it's beautiful white light is what I would call it. And it's that transfer of energy from a practitioner like me being a vessel of this white light, and it passing through me to my client. It's not coming from me. I am but a humble vessel of this light.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. So it dates back to, the source is Japan.
Yes.
Do you know what Reiki means? What is the
Reiki is Rei is life, and Ki is energy. So it's life force energy. Yeah.
Ah, the white light. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. So you mentioned your husband's running injury. I'm curious about benefits. What benefits, like what do people come to you for? Is it always physical injury? Are there other things that Reiki helps with?
So here's the first thing I want to say, though, before we talk about this. It's weird because I feel like I'm contradicting myself with the word heal, where people, if somebody said like to you, like, hey, come to me, I will heal everything about you. I could heal all your injuries. That is not what it is. But yet I have seen in personal things get better because of Reiki. Headaches have gone away. And especially with my own situation, having COVID last month, where I was really scared, really anxious, and with good reason. I had my friend Monique, who is a Reiki master, said, I'm going to send you Reiki. And I was like in the middle of this 102 fever. I mean, feeling absolutely terrible, wondering like, how am I going to be tomorrow? I don't know, maybe I'll be in the hospital. I have no idea. She sends me Reiki, and I swear within 2 hours, it was like I just turned a corner. The fever started to come down. I started to feel like coherent. It was incredible. It is to date, the most powerful Reiki I have ever received.
Oh my gosh.
In seeing the actual like benefit of saying like, yeah, all of a sudden my temperature just started dropping like out of nowhere. So I have to attest to that, but I would never say to somebody like, come to me and I'll heal your infertility, or I'll heal you're not ovulating. I will heal that. It doesn't work that way. The body, we have to understand that our spirits, our angels and guides, and this white light and everything are working together for the client to heal themselves. And we have a little bit of magic in the universe too. I'm not going to say we don't. So that's important to say. So That was my thing I wanted to say beforehand.
Real magic. It's real. Yes.
Yeah. So Reiki, it brings stress relief. So it's huge for stress relief, which is so powerful on the fertility journey, or, anything, anybody going through life. It's relaxation. I love it that you're spending 30 minutes, in a meditative kind of state, in a relaxing state. So there's that self-care there too, where you're like forcing yourself to like, okay, I'm going to lay down for 30 minutes just for me, so there's that relaxation that, that somebody gets. It boosts the energetic body. It lessens anxiety. There's so much. It balances the chakras. It balances the energy centers. And then, like I said, and then I've seen the incredible things of like a headache disappearing, the thing that I went through, my husband's, a chronic injury, like not hurting him, so it's just incredible. And the benefits are just so numerous, because what Reiki does in energy healing is it gives the client exactly what they need. Spirit and energy knows exactly where it needs to flow. And so
you as practitioner don't need to know?
Well, I would say every practitioner is different. For me, I am intuitively guided to where I need to go when I work on someone. So I know, and I focus around the chakras, the energy centers of the body. And so I will sense like, oh, that heart chakra, I need to get in there. And then I could feel the different type of energy that's coming from that area, or what I can, and I know that's other stuff we can get into, but that's a little bit, my listeners know,
when I do spirit baby sessions, I take a look at folks' chakras all the time. So talk about that. That's great.
So
expand.
So for me, I'm using my psychic senses. So every Reiki practitioner is going to be different. I am extremely psychic. So therefore I am receiving tons of information as well as the energy healing. So here I am, I'm doing an energy healing. I'm doing Reiki, whatever you'd like to call it. Because I call it energy healing more because I have my own stuff that I do.
Yes.
Because I use crystals and things like that. But, so I'll have a person there, and then I call it a two-way street, where I'm sending this healing, or I'm sending this energy where I'm led to send it. And then I'm also receiving information, psychic, where it's claircognizant, clairvoyant, messages, spirit animals, what happened when you were 18. I feel like you've had 3 miscarriages. It's like it's a bombardment of information that I get on all these different, ways of coming in. So I just and so for me, that's my session. So not everyone does that. Not everyone does Reiki like that. You may go to a Reiki practitioner, because I don't want people to be disappointed. Like if they just see someone at their local metaphysical place or online, they may not receive that information. So all you're going to get is possibly just this, like, yes, we did a healing. I did stuff in your heart chakra. And this is not a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's very different. So for me though, after I'm done, I do like a 10-minute video of everything that came through. That's spirit messages, spirit baby messages, regular spirit, other things that are just, coming in for me, intuitive notes and things like that. Of what
10 minutes is enough time.
Well, sometimes I go a little bit longer. It was like 10 to 15 minutes, I try not to take in, I try not to take in too much. And I've actually had to, edit myself a little bit sometimes. I remember in the beginning, I'm like, why am I getting like a hamburger with cheese? Or what is with this hot dog? And like, I had a hot dog for lunch. I'm like, okay. All right. Like, all right, Nancy. What's funny is that when those things do happen though, I do sometimes bring them up, because it validates the connection between me and that client.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an incredible way to validate are things like that, because how would I know something like that? You know, how would I know the pillow that you have on your couch?
Mm-hmm.
That's an
Mm-hmm.
odd thing, but it's a great way to show that there's this beautiful psychic and energetic connection, whether someone is in person or whether they are on the other side of the world.
Well, that is leading right into my next question, right? Was how are these sessions conducted? So I had a Reiki session, but it was in person.
Okay.
This was, I haven't done Reiki again. I had one Reiki session. It was beautiful and lovely. She was doing some kind of like she was doing her training. And so asked if I would be interested. This is before I was even open to, you know, my own psychic connection and stuff. So, but it was interesting and I felt very relaxed. But it was in person. And so I wondered how are they conducted? I laid down and she floated her hands above me. Is that like a typical in-person session? Can you do this remotely? Sounds like you can do this remotely.
Yeah. So people do that in person or remote or distance healing, it's called. I am 100% distance. So everything is done where the client is relaxing in their own home, and we are not even we're not connected on the phone. We're not connected online. I am just in my space, in my sacred space, conducting the session for 30 minutes. So my sessions are 30 minutes long. And people are like, well, how does that work? And there's something called the Hermetic Law of Similarity, which is a lot of fancy stuff, but it's like, again, meaning that we're all connected. You're all connected to each other. And so that's why I'm able to tap in so easily. And through, of course, all the practice that I've had over the years, you know, over the last 20 something years, or I'm older than that, but we won't talk about that.
No, you don't have to say that.
So yeah, it works no matter where the person is. And so for me, you know, so I've been trained by another Reiki master, a Reiki master teacher, and they have passed on special symbols, special ways to do to do this type of healing. And special distance symbols that I don't, well, we're on a podcast, so I can't show you a picture. But there's these.
Well, you can, because this will be on YouTube as well.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you should have told me. I would have fixed my hair.
You look fabulous.
Oh my goodness. What's she doing to me?
Oh my God, you're so New York. I miss New York.
I know, I can't help it. Oh God. So, you know, yeah. What was I saying now? So
I derailed you. I'm sorry. Yes, you're going to be seen by the world. No.
Yeah, that's okay. So I'm passing my hands actually over. This is like an art doll. I'm sure.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, this is like a little wooden art doll that I've painted the chakras on. And so that I have something to work with. So I'll have a picture of the client so I could see their face. That always is really helpful for me. And then I kind of use this, I lay this down and I am doing my healing like right over. I'll put my hands for the heart chakra. I'll put it directly on the heart chakra and just kind of take in that energy from what's coming from that area of the body. And so, yeah, it's done completely remote, completely distance. Again, I have clients in Australia. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You know, they're on the opposite side of the world. And it no matter how long I've done this, it still amazes me sometimes. Where I'm like, oh my God, that's, you know, even they're kind of like, Nancy, you've blown me away. Like, how could you be this spot on? You've blown me away. Which is like one of the biggest compliments I could receive, you know, and how they feel afterwards. So yeah, I do them all distance, and it is as powerful, or more powerful than an in-person session. What clients report, you know, because they're usually on their end with their eyes closed, listening to meditation music, they can feel like they're floating. They can see beautiful colors. They may see colors. They may feel tingling in their body. It's all good things. This is the best part of this energy healing. It's just like, it's all positive vibration. So everything that they feel is really good. You know,
that is so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. It like I said, it's amazing.
It is amazing. And then after, so when they work, and this is specifically with you, right? So other practitioners are different, but so when people work specifically with you, you ask them to lay and listen to meditative music. And then what, after 30 minutes, they look for an email from you, or after an hour, they look for an email from you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Depending on where they are, if they're in the US, I could text them easily, if some people get it by email. I give them a YouTube video of like 10 to 15 minutes of everything that came through for them and my interpretation of it, suggestions on what to do to help whatever they're going through.
Oh, we love homework.
Yes. And that's important thing. If you don't do the homework after a session, it's not going to help as much. And that's one of the really things I would say. You have to do the work after. You have to heal yourself. I cannot heal you. The universe, we got like some of that healing, but you really have to work on your own. And the things that I suggest, help that client move forward with whatever they need to do in order to heal.
That's really great. So you give practical stuff too. I'm a Taurus, so I'm practical. Give me specific things I can do.
Yeah.
Can you talk about Reiki? Like, what do you see, or what do you experience in general? Do you see patterns specifically with fertility people? Are there things you see that come up often?
Yeah, I think one of the big things that comes up for fertility clients is a disconnection of the heart and the sacral chakra, or the heart is completely closed off. It's not even that sacral chakra that might not be as balanced or as open, let's say, but that heart, I see it in cages sometimes. I see it locked up. I see it almost like a prison sometimes in that heart chakra, which is so understandable, especially with certain women's journeys and everything that they've been through, and the heartache and the heartbreak. So I totally understand, I understand that that's what's going to happen in those areas. It's a protective mechanism, especially after so many years of so much pain and letdowns and things like that. That heart gets like turned off. And so sometimes I can sense, for me, I always see like prison bars or a gate or brick wall. I see that. Sometimes things feel tarry to me. So like I have
that's a great way to say it.
Yeah. So like that chakras feel tarry. And I got to get like this sludge out, and literally like, I'm like pulling that stuff out, and then just seeing that, that person feels so much lighter afterwards is incredible. So yeah, that there's that disconnection from the heart, and then that's, the sacral chakra. So I see that come up a lot. I also see for the solar plexus, there's that self-worth, the confidence. I see like a dip. I could see that just dipping down where, like, am I worthy of being a mom? Am I, just start to lose, do I want to even keep doing this anymore or whatever? I really sense that a lot. So when it comes to fertility clients and many clients, whether they're even not fertility, that heart is a big one. I mean, that's our biggest like energy center in our body. It gives off so much electric. So between that heart, solar, and the sacral are the big ones.
Yeah. And then once folks have a session with you, they can feel a shift, whether they know it's their chakra or not. And you see a difference. You can sense a difference in there.
I mean, my clients, when they report back to me, they're telling me like, oh my God, I felt you in my heart chakra, or, I felt you really pulling in my throat chakra and things like that. So to hear that is really cool, because we're getting that the confirmation of that feeling, or, like maybe I'm working on their third eye. Usually I end that last, like a third eye. And a client will tell me like, oh, towards the end of the session, I saw these beautiful purple lights. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, yes. Cool.
Because that's the color of, like the third eye. So to hear stuff like that, and just that they feel lighter, they feel so refreshed afterwards. That is the big thing. And that's the big thing, I think, for any woman, is to feel that relaxation, to feel, like the weight has been lifted, to have some answers of like, okay, what can I do? So my heart chakra is blocked. What am I doing? what can I do to start working on this? Or your root chakra, you're not grounded. How can you start getting grounded? So getting these, tangible, I don't want to say tangible, but these actual points to like help move you forward is, I think, really key.
Yep. And I think it is tangible when you say, hey, do that. Like if I were to say, okay, you need to walk forward 5 steps, that's doing something, right? Like it is tangible, right? I love being able to offer that to folks too. I'm glad people find that useful from you too. Okay. So fun question. This is all fun, but
yes.
My audience is very interested in spirit baby stuff now. And I'm wondering about that. Does that come up often when you're working with fertility people, and maybe non-fertility people too, but we're talking about fertility people.
Yes.
And what do you do with that?
Yeah. So for me, if I'm making, some clients may not know about spirit babies. Sometimes they are really focused on spirit babies. So in my session, if I really want to open up to spirit baby, I let that be known. That's a conscious thing that I'm doing in preparation of my session, saying, I would like to hear from any spirit babies that would like to come through Earth side to this client, and any messages that they have, I'm fully open for communication with them and to be your translator to your mom. So basically that's what I'm doing. So I'm making that conscious effort, that conscious choice, I'll say. I'm turning on the switch for spirit communication, where some may not everyone needs that. Not every fertility client needs that or is helpful for them. So I work with the individual client to determine whether I'm going to do that or not. And
cool.
Yeah. And then basically they just come in for me where I see them, however I see them. Sometimes they're a dot of light. Sometimes I just know they're there. Sometimes I see them and I'm like, okay, here's a little girl. She's 4 years old. She has blonde hair. She's wearing a red dress. She's sassy. Or here's a little boy and he's, 2, and he's just smiling and very quiet and very shy. They all come through very differently. Some say like, hello, my name is Amber. And I'm like, well, hello, how are you? And then some I'm like, trying to close. I'm like, do you want to come a little closer? Or that, like I said, they're just like a dot of light at that point to me, where there is just this energy of them, where they're not male, they're not female. They are just this baby potential energy. Yes. And so I'll take that information, have whatever information that I can get from them, and engage in conversation if they are a conversationalist. Like my first daughter she was super sassy. So just being able to have that, and then passing that on to the client, whatever information I can pass on to them.
That is so great.
Yeah. The best. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say, so it's a conscious decision. I'm going to connect with spirit baby today for this particular client. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, because maybe they're not ready for that. Maybe they've just been through a loss and that's not something that they're ready for right now. It's pretty intense information. It could be a lot, right? It could be a lot. So I want my client to always be prepared and open and ready for that. One of the best ones I had, well, there's a lot of the best ones, but one of the coolest ones was a little girl telling me that her name was Violet. So a lot of times I get names. And I told the client, and she just started bawling right there on the spot. And she goes, I named her Violet, and I've never told anyone before. And it was just it was so incredible to have that super connection. Yeah. I'm always so honored to be able to get that info, to have that connection if they choose to connect.
So cool. Yeah. I rarely get names. That must be absolutely amazing and so validating for the people who need it. That's so great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We can go on and on about spirit baby. I'm sure that I'm a little obsessed. But I'm wondering too, speaking of empowering and giving people practical things, can people do Reiki on themselves?
So Reiki is a specific type of education, a specific type of, it's called an attunement. So I've gone through 3 levels of attunements over the years, over different times, to eventually become a Reiki master teacher. So not everyone can send Reiki, I would say, because they're not attuned to Reiki, but healing touch has been around for thousands and thousands of years. If you think back to Jesus and people with the laying on of hands, you'll hear these stories throughout history. They weren't probably given anything special. It wasn't anything special. You know what I mean? It was the conscious choice to say, okay, even with prayer, even with praying for someone, you are sending that energy to them, or you're sending that energy to yourself. So I would say that, yes, a woman can place her hands on her womb, and send loving, healing intentions, and light. We could all send light. The light is available in all of us all the time. It's just a matter of saying, yes, I want to be open to this beautiful white light. You can imagine it. Yeah. Imagine it coming from your hands and, sending it to your heart chakra. You can totally do that. That's the thing. It's, yes, I'm called a Reiki master or an energy healer or whatever, but I'm just like everybody else. I'm not a special person. It's just, we all have the ability to do this. And if you want to focus on actually, there's 13 octave Lohi, I forget the name of it, Loho Chi, and, there is theta healing and Reiki. There's all different types of things like that. So if you, want to actually focus on an education of doing it, you could choose that. You can choose Reiki or choose something else to really to really understand what you're doing. Especially like if if you're going to work with somebody, you should know what you're doing.
Right. And there's ethics and all that stuff that it's really useful to learn, right? Yes. I wondered about that too, because I'm not a Reiki master. I don't know much about Reiki at all, but I had an uncle who was really, really ill in the hospital. And I'm able, as I said, to see like energy centers and stuff. And so I just checked in with him, and he was laying flat in my clairvoyant. So I saw him laying flat on this hospital bed, and there was this dark, just energy of like a cloud just circling above him very slowly, like that sludge thing you were talking about. And so I sent light into it. I just sent light into it. And 2 days later, he was out of the hospital. I'm like, is that something?
What's crazy is like even, think about the power of prayer when all people get together and they start to pray or something, you know what I mean? Or, thinking those positive thoughts, what we put out, we attract. So we're constantly, and that's a whole other thing of, manifesting and things like that. But when you become a magnet for those things, you know what I mean? And you're able to send that light out to everybody else too. So it's incredible.
Right. It really is. Yeah. And so, so Reiki, one needs to be trained, specifically attuned. I love that word. One needs to be attuned and connect with like a teacher like yourself to be able to do that. But white light, prayer, these kinds of things are still energy. And that, of course, is completely possible.
Oh, yes.
Anybody. You are a wealth of information. Thank you. I learned a lot.
Awesome.
I like learning. I wish I got paid to just be a student. All right. So what are you up to nowadays? Where can people reach you, and what are you doing? Do you have any programs or giveaways or anything?
Right now, if you check me out on Instagram, my name is @Nancy Weiss Fertility Coach. And I just launched my magical monthly membership. I love saying that. Called the Sacred Goddess Circle. And that is a membership where I do a live energy healing. I do oracle card readings. I teach a live class during the month. There's bonuses and things like that. And we're going to be doing quarterly goddess circles where we get together and have ceremony together. And so for me, I wanted to really get more into teaching because I enjoy it so much. And I feel like so many women, they want to get in touch with that spiritual side, but they're kind of like confused about what to do, or they don't have time to like read all the books, or, you know, they're like, okay, it's the full moon and I know I'm supposed to do something on the full moon, or, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? Well, I wanted to be that teacher. I wanted to be that person, that spiritual teacher that helps women figure this stuff out, where I'm just like laying it out in the membership, and then doing the live healing is incredible too. So everyone, we had our first one the other night, and everyone was just laying down in their respective homes. And I actually did the healing live over in our private Facebook group. And it was so cool. And one of my members said she felt immaculate vibes. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing.
That's a good phrase.
Yeah. So that is what I'm doing. So women are welcome, whether they're going through fertility issues or not, if they want to just like get deeper into that spiritual side, and then like also have fun, because like, let's have a little bit of fun. And I always say, like, you know, I'm Sicilian, so you can see me like waving my hands in the air while I talk and everything. You know, so I'm talking about things like manifestation, mindset, you know, how we speak to ourselves, crystals. I mean, I'm literally putting all my spiritual knowledge for the last 30 something years into this membership, and having a lot of fun and a great time. So everyone is welcome to join, all women.
That is awesome. I have to tell you, I think maybe you posted something about the full moon or something. And I went, the full moon. Oh my God. I took all my crystals outside. It's like, yay, it's a full moon. Whew. I'm not as in tune as you are, but there was something you posted about it. And I went, okay, very good.
Good.
So,
that's what I mean. I was like, people, you know, want this reminder of stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm here to do that for you. I'm here to tell you how to make it work for you. And that's the thing. It's not just like doing a bunch of like, I don't know if I like the word woo-woo, but it's not about doing like a whole bunch of woo-woo stuff and just like to do it. It's about bringing it inside of yourself, so that you're setting the intentions for your inner healing, for you to feel confident, for you to feel like you can manifest, for you to feel hopeful. And that's what carried me on my fertility journey, where I was always so positive. And I was like, look, I always used to say, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to become a mom. And that's it. And I credit all my spiritual work to that. My manifestation practices and everything that I did is what led me to having my babies, and me being positive and hopeful and full of faith throughout that journey of IVF and embryo donation and all this stuff.
Oh yeah. No, I'm completely with you. I know that I manifested my kiddos. I know that I did.
Oh yes.
And when they came, it was like, well, of course, of course, because that's what I've been living. Right. Beautiful. Nancy, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate your wisdom. Really appreciate your insights, your knowledge, and please, people, go check out at Nancy Weiss Fertility Coach. Right. On Instagram. Yes. Right. Very good. Thank you so much.